then you can change it to. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nagasai Malati, and I'm going to speak about child protection. And I have been in the development sector, and my passion area is human rights, protection of women's and children's rights. And to tell you all, I think maybe you will be aware of, we have 33 million child laborers in India. And every 8 minutes, one child gets missing. And every one out of 4 child is out of school. And one out of 3 children are malnourished. And we are living with this kind of a society. And we want to be happy living by ourselves. So, having said all this, and we have been working, and I've been involved in child protection work in addressing especially child labor, also in terms of addressing child sexual abuse, not just only in India, even in overseas. And the major area which we worked, and so many efforts have been put in, so many pilots have been done across the country, but what we have identified finally is with the organization I worked with, which is Kailash Satyadi Children's Foundation, where we decided no point in just you wait until the child is picked up and sent for labor, and then you run around to get the child back. So, child friendly villages is what has been promoted, and this is the only solution for addressing child labor, child trafficking, etc. So, how it is done is in the village, so it is a pledge taken by everybody, and they decide that we will not have no child labor, no child marriages, we will not let any child being trafficked out of the village. So this is not possible only by one particular person or an individual or anything. It requires an entire village's commitment, etc. and all that. So we form various committees, which is including the village panchayat committee, and the beauty is the Bal Panchayat, which is the children's council. So the children take the decisions there, because we never use children in the decision making processes which involves them. So we always say that not without them, and that's how we proceed with it. And we have done such kind of example. These child friendly villages, you have more than 540 across the country in different parts. And so, I mean, if you have to talk about child protection, you can change it to the, excuse me, no, you can just have that WEF. So, to address the child protection, it's not possible only an NGO working on it. It calls for collaboration of all partners and all stakeholders, which involves, the corporate sector, the government, the NGOs, and the technical agencies and the communities. It calls for collaboration of all of them working together. So that's why we have been promoting, and I've been involved in promoting public-private partnership, where more corporates were also involved. Because you see, when people talk about CSR policy and everything, everybody works at the urban. Nobody goes to the rural. And where rural areas is where you have more number of population. If you have to talk about child protection, so right to education is one way of putting the children back into school so that they don't get exploited, etc. and all that. But to do that, not many corporates are interested in going to the rural areas, which is a pity. And this is why we have been saying that, corporates, and we also work with the corporates in terms of ensuring your supply chain is child labor. That is the biggest branding for you, that's the biggest recognition for you. So if you are talking about giving back to the society, so this is an area which we need to really work with in collaboration with government, NGOs, etc., because NGOs work on the ground. So with my experience of working with not only with the non-profit sector management, I had also worked with UN at the country level in India, and also with various international organizations. You work on different issues, which includes women's rights or even children's rights. It calls for multi-stakeholder approach, multi-stakeholder collaboration, and especially the people who are getting affected need to be involved in the decision making process. With this, I would really request everybody here, if you can do your bit by sharing with others in terms of it, at least even if we are able to rescue one child, or one child has been, you know, prevented from child trafficking or a child labor, then nothing like it, and we have really achieved as a human. Right. With this, I would like to end, but I would like it to be more interactive. If you can ask me questions, and I think we can talk about it. 35 years back, I worked with leprosy patients and their children first, rehabilitation. This was this is the India's biggest leprosy colony. Yeah. That's the challenging part of the work, and it's many people get frustrated, but I find the challenges interesting and passionate. Yeah. Very true. And that's the time, the children, they are picked up from the school, so they lose their education. And in the process of bringing them to a city or wherever, on the way, the child either get kidnapped or the child get trafficked. It's for poverty reasons. Yeah. But there is poverty is not the only reason. There are multifaceted problems, multifaceted issues, which needs to be looked at from a multidimensional approach and multi-sectoral approach. Mm. Yeah. See, the thing is, human trafficking is a multi-billion dollars business, right? Yes. And you're talking about children being taken there from, we are at the supply area. The demand is there where you are looking for labor, etc., and all. The demand countries are on the west. So, unless, no point you're talking about prevention here. The prevention has to be done at this demand side unless you address the work. And that's why, UN gift and all the international, all of us have been working for decades. But at least we could say that we have not really, but raising awareness has been happening at a different levels. And of course, the police forces are really acting fast because you have anti-human trafficking units in India. They are doing their best. Right, right, right. And that's very much essential. So you are talking about no prevention of child trafficking and prevention of a child labor, which involves lots and lots of issues and challenges across, which cannot be addressed by one particular sector, and that's the only thing. Please. Huh. सही बात है.
मैंने कहा आज हमने ना बीड़ी ट्राई की, और वो हमेशा अखबार के पीछे पाए जाते थे, एडिटर थे, तो हमेशा अखबार के जैसे कार्टून होता है, तो उन्होंने, और वो ट्रेड यूनियंस थे, ऑल इंडिया ट्रेड यूनियंस वाला, ही वाज द फर्स्ट वन जिन्होंने किया था, तो एंड उन्होंने मुझे अखबार नीचे नहीं किया, ना मुझे डांटा कि बीड़ी क्यों ट्राई की और कौन लोग, उन्होंने मुझे बोला तुम्हें पता है हम मुआयना चला रहे हैं क्योंकि ये जो बीड़ी बनाते हैं छोटे बच्चे होते हैं और इनको कैसे लत लगती है, और ये उन्होंने मुझे पूरा चाइल्ड लेबर बता दिया था, और मैं उसके बाद सालों 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 बीड़ी नहीं पी पाई।
So,
Because उन्होंने इतना इंटेंस मुझे बताया कि कैसे बच्चों को वो लत भी लग रही है और तंबाकू है और वो कैसे रोल, और मैं ऐसे बैठी, भाई किसको बता दिया मैंने, मैं बीड़ी नहीं पी पाई।
absolutely, absolutely, you're right.
With Smile Foundation for a year in Delhi. For a year, I was with a Dutch research group, and and then you come to know, and he made me do that. He took me to the blind school. He said, learn Braille also. You'll get sensitive for that. So then I understand what you're saying, and all the best.
Absolutely. See, the BD industry, the agarbatti making industry, and the fireworks. Sivakasi is known to everybody, right? So these are the industries, and above all, actually this organization I mentioned about, they ran a big campaign to stop children involved in manufacturing footballs. For FIFA ke liye to it was, and that's the reason why the FIFA song came from, the famous pop singer and all that. So that's how it was. So these are the sectors. It is in front of every one of us, and we all feel that अरे NGO काम करेगा यार, दूसरे वो लोगों का काम है, वो इनका काम है, हम क्या इसमें क्या देना है. But every individual, we have as a human being responsible, we are a responsible citizens. So if we are talking about our responsibility to give back the society, so at least what's happening in front of our eyes, let's not do it. So I don't encourage the people on the begging street when they are especially with the children, right? So there are smaller steps we need to take about it.
इनके बहुत जल्दी सीखते हैं, और वो कालीन भी बना रहे हैं, वो ये भी कर रहे हैं।
आपका चूड़ियाँ है ना, ग्लास चूड़ियाँ, that's the most exploitative sector, because you go and see the girls who are working on it, because ये इतने only their hands can go in, so people use them, they are burnt at their hangers, they can't eat and they won't be able to do it. It's such a pity, but unless you curb the demand, it will not happen. But we all run after the glass bangles and everything, we do it. So when we don't create the demand, so the children won't be involved in that industry. So supply chain may we are talking about it, but demand side also we need to work with, and that's the responsibility of everybody. Absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely. But it, as I very clearly said, I again say that it requires multi-sectoral, multi-stakeholder, multi-dimensional approach to address the entire child protection, because we don't want our next generation to be in the exploitative field. And because it's increasing, you see even affluent families everywhere, the child are sexually abused. So child sexual abuse happen even at a rural, even at a high fly family.